Good morning. It's June the 14th. I'm heading downtown for a eye doctor's appointment, of all things. So that'll be the first part of this, and then later in the day I'll walk home again. So I'll work while I'm down there. So sometime this afternoon I'll be doing the homeward walk. I might stretch that one out a bit. But for right now, I need to get down there in the next 20 minutes. The appointment's in half an hour, but they're supposed to be there 10 minutes early. It takes about 20 minutes to walk there, so it should work out perfectly. One concern is there are thunderstorms in the forecast today, so we'll see how that plays out. It feels pleasantly cool at the moment. It's supposed to go to 29 today, and thunderstorms. So I may buy an umbrella. I need a little umbrella I can carry in my computer bag. I'm going to have to go to the drugstore at some point during this trip downtown, so maybe pick one up there. Spent yesterday working on a project helping an author with getting an ebook ready. So that was all of yesterday. Today it's back to editing. Just about done editing The Good Soldier by Nir Yaniv, which is one of the books I'm publishing this fall through Shadowpaw Press. I'll send that off to him, hopefully this week. Excuse me. Breathed in something there. I don't know what it was. And then, got to start editing The Headmasters, which is the other new science fiction novel coming out this fall. Got to edit all the stories that have come in from Shapers of Worlds. Volume 4, I've got a bunch of Kickstarter stuff to do for Shapers of Worlds Volume 4. The anthology featuring guests in my podcast, The World Shapers. Oh, by the way, there was a new episode of The World Shapers on Sunday. I don't think I mentioned that on Monday. This one features M.C.A. Hogarth, very prolific author and artist, as president of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, now called the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers Association, to avoid limiting it to America, I guess. Also realizing I have a hole in my shoe. Time to buy new runners. I've worn these out through all this walking. I usually only get New Balance because I have flat feet, and New Balance shoes are the only ones that are comfortable. Pretty much the only ones. And I found some Reebok that was fairly comfortable. Windier than I thought. There'll be some wind noise. I still haven't put a little, what they're called, a dead cat, little fuzzy thing on top of the mic to see if I can cut the wind noise. That on my to-do list too. Oh yeah, and then I have to write a good portion of a book between now and the end of July, so yeah, I got lots to do. Anyhow, editing is the first thing today. Get that one book finished. I've also got a trilogy coming out this summer from Lista Gadala, and I'm working on the third book in that series, editing as well. Walking briskly here. As we turn onto Albert Street, as usual, my path is determined by the most efficient way to get across Albert Street. I know on Friday I'll be walking up Albert Street, basically, from way down at the south end. I drop off the car, one of our cars. Hello, Andre in Brazil. It's the old Saskatchewan Government Telephones building, now part of the Royal Saskatchewan Museum. A lot of laboratories and fossils and things in there. Albert Street is our main north-south route. It runs right through the city from north to south. The other one is the Louvain Drive, which is higher speed over to the west. There's also a ring road that takes you right around the city, and now there's a bypass to try to deflect some of the heavy truck traffic on the Trans-Canada Highway. It can go around the city instead of having to come through the city. That was a major project. There's this guy standing there. Looks like we're crossing this way. Okay, well, that's good. I like crossing this way. There we go. Quite a bit of construction going on too. Some streets are actually blocked downtown because of construction. But I think because there's cars coming here, I will cross here and head this way. Hamilton is the street I'm actually headed to if you're following along on Google Maps. I see a slight orangeness to the light, which usually means there's some forest fire smoke in the air. Not a lot, but it's pretty much everywhere in Canada right now. There are certainly fires burning in northern Saskatchewan, as well as BC, and I mean, well, I don't know about BC, but I presume, but Alberta for sure. Let's go up this way. We'll zigzag our way over towards Hamilton Street. This is called the transition area, as I often mention, because it's transitioning between what was once just residential like this into more multi-unit dwellings and businesses. It's been the transition area for the entire 35 years I've lived in Regina, mind you. Hasn't really changed that much now that time, but it's still called the transition area. This apartment building's been here a long time. I think it's probably a seniors assisted. A lot of these are. And with a name like Prairie Place, that's usually a giveaway. Nice flowers. A lot of these, especially the older seniors places, have names like Pioneer Place or Prairie Place or something because they were literally pioneers who were, like when I was a kid, the seniors who were in their 70s or 80s living in seniors homes had been homesteaders, among the first white residents of Saskatchewan. Scratched a farm out of the soil. Nice flowers. Chair for rent. What does that mean? Oh, it's a hairdressing place. That's what that means. We'll go this way. So we get to the next stop sign for crossing. Oh, they've repainted just recently, it looks like. Painted the stop line there. Cross after this guy here. Look at this house being worked on. It took a while, but it's turned out very nice. I don't know if it's multi-unit or not. I think it must be because there's a staircase up the side. There's probably a couple of suites in there. Somewhere along here is a very small Chinese restaurant. Right here. I think it's Chinese. Chinese or Vietnamese. I don't know if it's still active or not. Doesn't look very promising. It still says Shanghai Lily on it. Well, I guess they're still going. They have a deck, but no chairs on it. I've eaten in there once. The food was good. Not much ambiance. And only about 3 tables. So very much a small immigrant-run business. It's a very old apartment building over there. We'll go up this way. Another one. Only problem with this is I'm going to be a little hot and sweaty when I get to my doctor's appointment, my optometrist appointment, which is where I'm headed. I think that's been painted sometime recently. I don't remember it being that pretty blue color. It may be a while since I've been up this particular street. Again with the cough. It feels like I sucked in some little floating seed or something. So I do apologize for the extraneous noise there. No way to mute the microphone, unfortunately. That's City Hall ahead of us to the left. SGI building is the gold one over on the right. This is 13th up here, which we're coming to. As we come across here. Better view of City Hall, nicely illuminated this time of the morning. Yes, they've definitely painted stripes, which is good. They get very faded over the winter, so they usually repaint things in the spring. It's blocked down there. This used to be the Y, but it's turning into some sort of health, the YMCA, but it's turning into some sort of health complex. I used to go there and lift weights, but not since COVID. It did not survive COVID. It was already in trouble, and that was the nail in the coffin. There is still a YMCA, but it's way up in the northwest, so I'm not going up there. Not a member anymore. Anyway, my exercise now is walking. I should do some lifting, and I do have a couple of dumbbells I could do something with, and I keep meaning to, and I've talked about it before on here, but I never have actually started doing it. I mean, if I just had them handy and did it multiple times a day, whenever I had a few minutes, do a few reps, it would make a difference. So I just have to knuckle down, buckle down, do it, in the immortal words of Roger Miller. It's the Salvation Army here. This is actually a fountain, this rock, but it doesn't seem to be fountaining at the moment. And one more block up to Victoria, and then, 3 blocks to the right, and we're basically there. This is a nice apartment building over on the left, the Frontenac it's called. Has a kind of Spanish design. I don't think I've ever been in an apartment in there. I've always liked the looks of the outside. Very well kept up building. And attractive. Up on the right here is First Baptist Church. I sang there at Easter for the part of... I was hired to supplement their choir and do a solo. A couple of solos, actually. She asked me if I was available at Christmas, so I might be doing it again at Christmas time. We'll see. And this is like a fellowship hall, I think, for the Baptist Church. That's Knox Metropolitan United Church over there, Presbyterian Church when it was built. Heavily damaged by the tornado, which came right down this street in 1912. Killed 20-some people, worst tornado disaster in Canadian history. And its path was basically Lawrence Street here, from the other side of the lake, and then all the way up into the warehouse district, across the tracks, before it lifted. Okay, looks like there's no point in waiting for this slide. It could be a while, so we'll go this way. There's First Baptist entrance. Victoria Park is over there, with the cenotaph marking memorial to the First World War originally, but now memorial to all veterans who have served in Canada's various overseas conflicts. I was going to say we haven't had any Canadian conflicts, but that's entirely untrue. There was the Riel Rebellion, and I was just up at Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan, which is not related to the Riel Rebellion, but the river valley there made me think of it. So that was equivalent of a kind of a Canadian Civil War, nothing like the slaughter of the American Civil War. And in fact, Louis Riel was hung here in Regina, somewhere along here. There's a plaque. And the courthouse where he was tried, I think, is where the federal building is there now, more or less. He was trying to establish a Métis nation. Métis are of French and Indian heritage. And other than that, I've learned the history, but I don't think about it all the time, so I wouldn't want to go any further than that. I do like the federal building there, kind of a 30s modern building. There's downtown. My appointment is just around the corner to the left, not on one more block up. Sorry, I misread the signs. That wasn't very clever. I'm not sure how I did that. I guess it changed just as I started across the. Well, sorry about that. That was really stupid of me. It's one of the hazards of walking around with this thing. Sometimes you miss cues that you normally pick up on. See, they've got fast powers just about done here. They've been working on that for a while. Be coming in here shortly. That was quite embarrassing. Missing the walk signal like that. It could have been bad, dangerous, but I couldn't figure out. I don't know. I was sure it was. I don't know. I guess I was just looking at the stopped cars and didn't look to see where the light was. So my fault entirely. And just another block up here will be my end point today. Right here, FYI doctors. That's where I'm going. So thanks for walking with me and watching me stupidly walk out in front of traffic. I'll try not to do that again. And I'll be back later in the afternoon and be more careful on the walk home. Bye for now.